This is an article by CNA. Letter from the Americas urges Pope Francis to stop the Latin Mass bans. Now, I've done a lot of videos on where we're at with this, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So y'all can certainly go and watch those. I could put a link to them in the show notes. But there's a letter signed by a group of people, including a couple of bishops, including Archbishop Salvatore Cordileone of San Francisco, supporting the letter and asking Pope Francis not to further restrict the Missal of 1962. And what we appear to see is what may happen is there could be further restrictions to the Missal of 62 in diocesan parishes at the parish life, and but not for institutes that were created specifically to have a charism of perpetuating this liturgy. Pope Francis seems to be on board with perpetuating that liturgy within those institutes. But it does appear that he could be open to further restricting the Missal of 62 in a diocesan context. And one of the reasons is, as great of a liturgy as it is, and as beautiful as it is, some people have weaponized it and used it as a point of contention to look down on other liturgies in the Roman Rite that are not the Missal of 62. And they have been weaponized in numerous ways that I've expressed on this show, and Pope Francis has expressed concerns there. Many bishops have also expressed their concerns there. Whenever Pope Francis restricted it initially with Traditionis Custodes a few years back, instead of proving Pope Francis wrong, many people, not all in this community, there's really great people in this community who don't weaponize it, but many people in the community did continue to weaponize it and went even further, saying that, you know, the Pope doesn't have this authority, and if he attempts to do this, we're going to ignore him, and we're going to, and even allowing for illicit ordinations to take place at various parishes, because they believe that it's absolutely essential to ordain people under the older form rather than the newer form. And so they ended up proving Pope Francis right instead of wrong. Again, not everybody, but a large and significant amount of people, especially the ones who are most vocal about it. So I could see further restrictions. Now, I think it's nice that some archbishops want to ask Pope Francis, well, maybe this isn't the best approach. Okay, fair enough. But I have to ask, where are those same archbishops and bishops calling on laity to stop weaponizing that liturgy so that this doesn't happen? The appeal shouldn't be first and foremost to Pope Francis. What you should see is archbishops and bishops appealing to the laity, saying, hey, stop doing this. And the reality is, a lot of the bishops have been asleep at the wheel, not addressing this issue with people in their own territory, and with numerous content creators on YouTube who push for schismatic agendas, dissenting agendas, weaponization of the Missal of 62. I want to say, why is it that these archbishops and bishops are quick to step up and speak up on this issue with Pope Francis and their superior, but they can't address their inferiors? And they can't address the root of the problem? The root of the problem isn't Pope Francis. Pope Francis is responding to the root of the problem. Maybe in not the best way, you can argue that, but he's responding to something. The root problem is not him here. The root problem is people weaponizing this liturgy. And what we should be seeing is more bishops rebuking that mentality and that agenda. Unfortunately, it's like crickets. You don't hear from them. Silence. Instead, what you do see is them throwing in their support to, let's keep it going, it's a beautiful liturgy. I agree. I do support that. I do think it's a beautiful liturgy. I do think that all things being equal, it needs to be perpetuated. I do think that there is an evangelistic nature to beauty. So I agree with all that. But I just want to say, if that's all you're saying and you're not addressing and rebuking the people who are the root cause of the problem, who are weaponizing the Mass and leading souls astray, then you're missing the real root cause here, and we're failing to do what we're supposed to do. So I want to say, take all that energy that you have in defending this to Pope Francis, take that energy and first start by rebuking laity and content creators who are creating chaos in the Catholic Church right now. That would be helpful. Hey, if you enjoyed that clip, check out the full video in the show notes. And by the way, consider supporting me at patreon.com/Reason and Theology if you appreciate the content of this channel. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button.